Bloody hell, it did it.
Hello YouTube, welcome to the channel. Now then, on today's video we're going to be looking at this baby. It's the HB Toys ZP1010. It's basically a 1/10 scale trail truck, which is sort of a loose clone of a Traxxas TRX4. Although Traxxas wouldn't thank me for saying that, because this is nowhere near as capable as a Traxxas. I'm going to say that straight out of the box. But they bought out several models. There's this pickup and a Defender body and a Toyota body, and they're basically sort of Traxxas TRX4 copies. But like I say, for a much cheaper price and nowhere near as capable. Now, I know I'm a little bit late to the party with regards to these HB Toys trucks, because they have been out a while and they do have quite a decent cult following, especially in Asia, simply down to the fact that they look like Traxxas and they're a fraction of the price. But I've always found them, for what you get, a little bit expensive. However, here in the UK anyway, on eBay, there seems to be a ton of these being pumped out at the moment. I don't know if they go through cycles on eBay where the manufacturer dumps a load of stuff. But there are sellers on eBay falling over themselves to, I think, especially the truck version, get rid of the truck version. Now, I paid, wait for it, and this is no lie, 45 quid including delivery, and I'll prove it to you. If you could take a look at my screen there, £37.50, that's before tax. So this thing was up for £49.99. I made the seller an offer of 45 quid and bang, they accepted. So at the moment they are dumping these things, the ZP1010, on eBay, so they're an absolute bargain at the moment. So I thought, for 45 quid I'm going to give it a pop. Now, before we go ahead and open the box, I've got a little confession to make. I have actually opened this to check it, because it did come with a child's fist sized hole in the box, but it's okay. I mean, how it missed the light bar at the top, I don't know, whatever it was that went through, but it did. But let's have a quick look at the box. 2.4 gig, 1/10 scale. Might be a bit of a Chinese 1/10 scale. 4-wheel drive, ready to run apart from the batteries in the transmitter. Fully ball raced apparently. Splash proof electronics. Strength shocks, now we'll get to that later, and oversized tyres. But anyway, enough waffle. Let's crack this box open and see what our 45 quid gets us. Right then, in the box we get our instruction and parts manual, and there are several different versions of this truck you can buy, and also for a budget truck, which is nice. I think there's full spares backup as well, so even though it's a dead cheap truck, you can still get all the spares for it. There's a little cardboard box, and this contains, check this out, batteries for the transmitter. So you do actually get everything you need in the box. Whether these are any good or not, I don't know. We get batteries for the transmitter. You get an absolutely buttload of spare R clips. You get a 1500 milliamp hour lithium ion battery with a Dean's connector. We get a USB battery charger as well. We get one transmitter, and to be honest, it feels as though it's a decent transmitter, this does. A bit big, but it does come with a throttle trim, a steering trim. You can reverse the steering, and it's got a mode for the lights, so that'd be interesting. And last but not least, we've got the actual truck itself. Now then, this thing, I'll take you up here a bit actually. This thing looks as though it's based on a Ford Raptor pickup truck. I don't know if is it F-150 or something. My American brethren might challenge me on that. But it does look like a bit of a Ford pickup, this thing. It does look really cool. I must admit, for 45 quid, even if it's absolute garbage, you can stick it on the shelf and look at it. Now then, there are a few issues with these out of the box, one of which is the rock hard suspension, and I'm not going to lie, it's for a trail truck, it's solid virtually, terrible. And also the tyres apparently are hard as well, so not only you got rock hard suspension, you've got rock hard tyres, and yes, they are a little bit, although the rubber seems quite compliant and soft. Now, there are fixes because they have such a cult following. There are fixes for all these things, and there are loads of videos out there and how people have improved these, and there are loads of hop-up parts and stuff you can buy for them, so shouldn't be too much of a problem. But like I say, 45 quid, it's got to be worth a pop. But anyway, I love the looks of this thing already. We've got rear lights, we've got front lights, we've got a light bar at the top. Let's pop the lid off and see what's underneath. Underneath the bodywork then, we've got our little battery tray, which has got an R-clipped battery cover on it. We've got a 540 or a 550 brushed motor, so this thing is going to have a reasonable amount of torque to it. We've got our combined ESC and receiver unit there. and that is controlling a 5-wire axle mounted steering servo, which is nice to see. Let's flip this thing over and have a look underneath. Underneath the truck we've got a little on-off switch there, we've got a little transfer box, and that's got metal drive shafts going to each axle, and there looks to be metal drive cups in there as well, which is nice to see. There does also look to be some metal in the axles, how much though I don't know. They are locked, these, there's no differentials in these axles, so it'll have a terrible turning circle probably. It does look a bit plasticky underneath, but at this price point I think we'll forgive it. Right then, I've just pulled the little cover and the heatsink off the motor, and it is indeed a 540 can. Tell you what I have noticed as well, the shell actually has these little wheel arch liners, which is good because that'll stop some of the crap and mud from getting into the chassis itself. Okay, I thought we'd quickly check out the lights, and those batteries, by the way, that came for the transmitter are all good. Steering, not the quickest, and this thing has got terrible steering lock for a trail truck. Lights anyway, push the red button, front ones come on, back ones come on, push it again, the light bar at the top comes on, push it again, for some reason the lights front and rear come on, and push it again, the bar flashes at the top for some reason. Now this thing, actually, they do actually quote a top speed of 15 kilometers an hour for this thing, so to be honest it would be rude before we take it out on the trail not to check it. Right then, we're outside, speedo is zeroed, piddling it down with rain as usually in the UK. The box says 15 kilometers an hour, which is approximately 10 miles an hour, so let's see what it does. Right then, it's a good job this thing has got splash proof electronics, and the speedo says 8 miles an hour, so we're a bit short of 10, aren't we? back inside, what did we think of the HB Toys ZP1010 here? And I tell you what a pleasant little trail truck this thing turned out to be. We're going to go with some pros and cons as usual. We'll not break with tradition. We're going to start with the cons first, the most obvious of which is the suspension. It literally got the suspension a Formula 1 car we'd be proud of. It's way too stiff for an off-road truck. I mean, it takes all my force to push the thing down. So the suspension for off-road use, way too hard. The next con I've got written down on my list is the tyres, and it's basically the same trouble as the suspension. You've got rock hard suspension and no vent holes in the tyres. I mean, these are actually quite soft and squishy, but because there's no vent holes, they don't really deform, so you've got hard tyres and hard suspension. Thirdly, the turning circle on this thing is atrocious. It's basically got the turning circle of a super tanker. It's down to the fact that there's virtually no steering lock on the front. And the last con on my list is the low speed modulation on the electronics. I would have liked to have seen a little bit more control low down, but at the end of the day, this thing is only 45 quid. Right then, let's have some pros. Now, despite the suspension, despite the tyres, despite the steering angle, this thing is a reasonable little trail truck, it really is. I mean, we took it over a series of different terrains, and it pretty much coped with everything we threw at it. We didn't ask it to do anything extreme, didn't do any extreme crawling, and it got stuck a couple of times, I think, but it was literally axle deep mud. So I would have thought most sort of trail trucks, even expensive ones, would have struggled in some of those situations. But everything we threw at it, trail-wise, it pretty much passed. Now then, battery life. I was really pleasantly surprised at how long the batteries lasted in this thing. Despite it being a 540 brush motor and they're only 1500 mAh lithium ion packs, I think we only used 2 batteries in the entire time we were out. Now, the next good thing I've got written down on my list is the looks of this thing. I personally think they've done a cracking job of the body. I must admit, though, I am a little bit of a sucker for a pickup, and to me it looks like a Ford F-150. I don't know if my American brethren would disagree with that or not, but I especially like the lights in the front and this light bar at the top. I just think they've done a mint job of the way this thing looks. Because this RC has been out for a while, there's plenty of spares back up and there's plenty of hop-up parts available for it. Like I say, it's got a little bit of a cult following, so spares and accessories for this thing and advice if it goes wrong are plentiful. Nothing broke, nothing fell off, and it pretty much dealt with all the terrain we threw at it while we were out. Nothing too strenuous, but there were some decent climbs there, and it survived. And the icing on the cake, it was the price, 45 quid. I honestly think this is probably the best 45 quid I've ever spent. Right then, conclusion time. Would I recommend the HB Toys ZP range to you guys? And I'm going to say, for the money I paid for it, absolutely yes. It's a no-brainer. I mean, for 45 quid, it's an absolute steal for this thing. I mean, I've seen these trucks advertised in the UK from anywhere up to sort of 110, 120 quid. For that sort of money, they're not really worth it, but for the price I paid for it, you cannot go wrong. As ever, there will be a link in the description to where you can go and get one of these from. Obviously, at the time of making this video, they were still available, so fingers crossed, if you did want one, you can still grab yourself a bargain. I will be making a future video on this truck, putting right all the faults, and then we'll take it out again, see what it's like. So if you're interested in that, make sure you keep your eyes peeled for that video. And as ever, if you found this video of some use and interest, please give it a massive thumbs up. And if you're feeling that way inclined, hit that subscribe button for more similar future content. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll catch you again very, very soon. Thank you.